Good morning, folks. Welcome back to the farm. I'm a little breathless here this morning for obvious reasons. That's not fog, that's all wildfire smoke. So yesterday afternoon, about 4 o'clock-ish, somewhere in there, two local wildfires broke out. One over by Teep Creek, and then one to the north of us, up by Valhalla. Both out of control right now. And the wind, we've lived here for 7 years, and at this elevation, between us and the Rocky Mountains, there's no tree on that elevation, so it's always windy here. And yesterday we had probably 80-kilometer-an-hour gusts. I can't believe the greenhouse is still here, to be honest. That old ratchet strap from the power poles did wonders. So the air's a little thick this morning. I had the whole family out this morning. We planted a few rows of potatoes and then sent the wife and the girls back inside while I finish up the chores here. I say a few rows of potatoes. We planted 200 hills of potatoes. And then, of course, look at everything. Everything should be bright, luscious green right now. We've been watering the lawn for the last week and it still looks like the middle of Baghdad out here. But anyways, I'm gonna get that garden hose turned on. I had a few holes in it, so I had to put some duct tape on it. I'm not gonna run to Costco today to get replacement garden hoses. We'll get the water on and try and get that garden soaked up here. So in some years I've been fairly religiously, making hills, and it's just like, it's like a work of art over here in the garden today, because it was just, you could just chew on the air. I didn't even bother. I just sunk the hoe in, drug a row, we dropped the potatoes in, hoed about 3 inches of dirt over top, and I'm calling it. And then when everything pops up, I'll worry about hilling some stuff up. I'm gonna leave that sprinkler going for probably the better part of an hour. I'm gonna make it, because this ground is starting from completely parched. You can dig and dig and dig and dig and just keep getting dust. So typically in a normal year where you've got normal snowpack, you don't have to go very deep and you find moisture in the soil. And then you would just put an inch of water on top of it. I think I'm gonna put about 4 or 5 inches on and just drive some subsoil moisture in. And I know it's gonna disappear, and that's fine. But a typical year, I'd be looking in the initial 4 to 6 weeks, probably try to get an inch and a half every week. And I think we're gonna, God bless the fact that we got a good water well, because I'm gonna be trying to put on probably 2 to 3 inches every week, just to make up for whatever's gonna sponge out of there into the surrounding soil. So yesterday afternoon, right when I got home, right when the wind was blowing, right when the fires were getting going, I had both kids. They were just screaming. They had a full day yesterday for sure. We come home, and the 2 rams that were in behind the shop over there decided to become Olympic high jumpers. And I say Olympic high jumpers, basically they folded over that page wire and then just pushed their way through, which is, appreciate that. That's fantastic. That's real good for business. But so they were over here by the barn, and I was like, okay, well, that's not desirable, but it's not terrible either. So I just closed the gate up at the main road so that they're in the yard, but they can't go anywhere. So whatever, right? As long as you keep them off the road, nobody's gonna run them over. I'm not gonna have to deal with any nonsense. Well, anyways, that 80-mile-an-hour wind picked up, and I got some of these, not quite like these, but security panels on the other side of the barn that are pinned down. Well, anyways, the wind picked up, and they weren't pinned down for very long. It's surprising, a cross-section of just mesh like this, how much wind force can impact one of these. Anyways, needless to say, one of them toppled down, and then the rams, I looked out, and the rams weren't in the yard. They were out here in the big field. Can't even hardly see the ladies over there because it's so smoky. Anyways, they were out in the big field with the ladies, and that's not exactly desirable either. But I'm not too terribly concerned, because lots of daylight, so I don't think the ewes are cycling right now. And even if they were, 145 days from today is what would that work out to be? I can't even do the math on that in my head, but I'm pretty sure the weather would still be decent. So if we did have some late season births, you know, it wouldn't be the end of the world, right? It's not like suddenly they're doing, you know, 4th of January or something crazy like that, or 24th of February like we started off this year. All right, so anyways, the boys are surprisingly content right there. I got a bit of a better fence on here, and they haven't bothered it. They haven't challenged the fence at all. They're just happy to be here. And so I'm gonna get them a square hay bale, put it up in the feeder over there, rather than try to convince them to go all the way back over behind the shop and stress out that fence even more. Anyways, I'm over here back behind the barn. Just topped up. I had a little spill because they got a little rammy. Just topped up the old molasses slick tank. And I tell you, that's super critical right now, because all these ewes are still lactating. That pasture is, I mean, it's tapped out from last year. It's starting to come green, and the guy's got about as much hay as whatever you see in those little piles over there. That is it. That is it. So if we don't get rain right now, we're in a tough spot. We have about I don't know, 75 square bales left, and that's really what's got to get us through until that grass starts to get some elevation on it. We're getting the sun, we're getting the heat, but we got no moisture, and that's a tough spot to be in. And so we get this molasses over here from our good friends over at Bloom Enterprises, and they got a YouTube channel called Millionaire Farmer. And I tell you, we absolutely rely on that product at this time of year. I mean, we rely on it a couple of different times a year, you know, definitely leading up to, you know, late season gestation, and then after, you know, postpartum. It is a huge part of our feeding and supplement program that we just wouldn't get by without it, honestly. It's kind of funny, we're in Beaver Lodge here now, and Charlotte has a dance recital today, and so all year I've been the only dad that's ever come to any of those dance practices, and now there's probably 200 vehicles here and the arena is full. It's quite the show.